everyone, and welcome back to Breaktime Conversations, a YouTube channel where I have conversations around education. I have been a teacher all my life, and along my journey, I have met and I continue to meet so many interesting and inspiring people. And so I decided to document my conversations with them here so that you too can hear their stories and the amazing work that they do. I'm here today with Padma Sekar. She and I used to work together many years ago in an international school here in Bangalore. She is currently a homeroom teacher and learning leader for grade 3 at the Stonehill International School. Padma, it is so nice to see you again after so many years, and so great to have you here on my channel.
Absolutely. I'm so thrilled, Anupa, to see you because I worked with you for 1.5 years, in the classroom in and out. And it's been very enriching experience because we learn from each other as educators. And when we stop learning, we stop to teach as well. So I believe strongly in that. And thank you very much for having me here.
Yes, Padma, I know we did learn a lot from each other. We were just having that conversation just before we started this. So, Padma, we'll start off this conversation by you telling us, how did you become a teacher and how did you get into the field of education?
And I think that is such a nostalgic, memory down my lane. Uh, because of a few good teachers that I had when I was young, I desired to become a teacher myself right from childhood. I think I that became a dream for me when I had my child and he was just 6 months old. I started feeling that, my life is just going to be diapers and, taking him on strolls. And that was when I said, no, I can't be like this. I don't want to become a doormat. And I enrolled myself in a B.Ed course. And I used to travel every month with my little baby and go to my mom's place because we used to have contact classes. And, so the journey was like, every day morning I would dump my son on a Saturday and then go for my class, come back, and then Sunday come back to Bangalore and 45 days of campus program. So it was a very hectic schedule, but nevertheless, I was so determined because of the drive not to be a doormat. And that is how I completed my course and said that I want to do this. And then I had my second one. She was 6 months old, and I said, I can't have a gap of completing B.Ed and not having experience. So 6 month old baby, I left her at home and I started working, but the school was very nice. I could come back to nurse my baby because it was just 10 minutes away. And so I would come, and the principal and everybody else was very nice. So I managed to work for 1 year. And that is where my career as a teacher began. And this was in Bihar, a place called Ranchi, and in Bishop School. So, and then it's been like, a roller coaster ride, I would say, because of moving around since my husband was in the army. So, teaching in Ladakh, in a place where very minimal resources, and I had to teach transport to them. And when I had to introduce trains to them, those kids did not know what a train is because there was no internet, and newspapers would come 1 week later, if at all they have to come. So it was so difficult. And then, we had to draw, we had to make noises and, listen to what it sounds like, feels like. So it was a great experience teaching there and then moving around. But I think some of the schools have really shaped my career. And the most renowned ones are the ones in Bangalore. I taught in Bethany. I would actually say that was like a first school where I could learn a lot of things, learn a lot of new strategies. So Bethany was a foundation for me, and still feel it's my home. And then later I joined Aditi, where I met you, and a lot of wonderful educators who were out of the box thinkers. And the training program that I attended, which was mandatory for the teachers there when I joined, 1.5 years, where I met Mrs. Tarakini and Ms. Dharma Kannan, and then there were other mentors who came in. The course was so enriching. I was overwhelmed, learning and looking at all that. And I was like, am I the right fit in the school? Will I be able to do justice to my role? because it was all so different for me, having taught in the north, in typical Indian schools, and then getting into Malayaditi was like such a difference. So I think my career has been really fulfilling. And from Aditi, after 8 years, there was so much I had, learned, that I wanted to also use it and, learn it and share it with the others. And that is when I moved to Trio as the founder, academic coordinator, and ICC head. And I could actually do a lot of things that were really, really satisfying for me. And from there, I wanted to gain the IB experience because I had not taught the IB curriculum. And so I said administration was not making me feel very happy, because as the school started growing, I started getting sucked up into logistics, and so there wasn't much time for curriculum development or teacher training. So I said I'll go back to teaching. And that's how I went back to Stonehill. And it's been my 7th year at Stonehill.
Wow, what a journey. I had no idea that you'd been in Ladakh and places like that. That's amazing, Padma. So nice to hear your story. So, as you've been a teacher and like you've been talking about the learnings that you've had on the way, it would be great for you to share with us now, what are the pedagogies that have molded you as a teacher as you've gone from, from place to place, different school to, and from different contexts as well.
Yep. I think, like I told you, Bethany was the foundation. We had an educational consultant, Miss Phyllis Ferraz. Sometimes I still bump into her, and it's like so much of respect, because she was the one who introduced me to ADHD, and how to deal with those. And those were all terminologies which was completely new for me. Having come from Ladakh, those were all like things that I did not know at all. So it started from there about how there are learners of different caliber in the class, because from the era that I come, it was all, one size fits all. You either are brilliant. If you're not brilliant, you're dumb. So, from that to moving towards that. So, though I did not know the word differentiation at that time, the pedagogy as such at that time, but then that introduced me to ADHD. And moving from there to Aditi was where I initially started off with multiple intelligence. And so I attended one of the workshops on multiple intelligence. And the course that I did along with, Miss Kinney and Miss Dharma got me, I think I did not so much grasp or internalize when I was doing my B.Ed, is what I would say, because of all the, child and all of that. So I actually got into the theories of, multiple theories of learning and teaching. So Bloom's taxonomy really caught me, and we had to do a complete unit based on something that we choose. So I chose multiple intelligence and blended it with Bloom's taxonomy to do an entire unit there. So that actually kind of widened my understanding of how children can learn, being different kinds of learners. So kinesthetic. So I planned the unit on Rajasthan in that way, that everybody had opportunities to learn in different ways. So multiple intelligence really stayed with me. And then slowly moving from there, it was more of research skills and inquiry based learning. Again, terminologies were not familiar, at that time for me, but it was more on free inquiry, researching that we did in sciences at Aditi, which gave a lot of in depth learning to the kids. Not just that, I think it was for me as well, so much of learning along with the kids. And I just fell in love with Bloom's taxonomy and inquiry based learning because of the scope that it gives. And I took a lot of values and pedagogies when I went to Trio. So I used to go into classes and model, sit with the teachers, though they were textbook oriented, but I sat with teachers to make, a plan, go and teach one unit in one particular class so that, we get an understanding of how to do it. and also integrating. Basically, the interdisciplinary approach was another thing that I learned when I was doing the Bloom's taxonomy. So I would say integrated learning, interdisciplinary learning is another beautiful way to, to learn and teach. So that's one thing that I also got very familiar with, and even now I do use it, because in IB we believe in interdisciplinary but also transdisciplinary. Transdisciplinary is when you have to apply your learning to real life problems. So, so moving to Aditi, and from Aditi to Stonehill has been another beautiful learning curve. Actually, a lot of foundations that I learned in Aditi helped me to kind of go through the IB, learning, because IB has got a lot of jargons, and it's got a lot of things that you need to focus on. So one of the things that I have kind of learned through the IB pedagogy is that it's not just the topic that you're teaching, but it is also about molding the kids depending on the profile of learning. So we say there are some children who are very open minded, some who are risk takers, some who are curious. So we look at that lens as well, and also look at there's something called approaches to learning, which is all these skills that you bring along with it, like research skills, critical thinking skills, self management skills, which we are all like, nowadays it's that is, you really need to be well organized, you have to manage your time, you have to communicate very well. I think these are all 21st century skills that one needs to. So when I look at the curriculum and the pedagogy, this is like a very holistic approach to what we can use in the classroom. So not just targeting on a concept, but also looking at it from different lens. So inquiry is the crux in IB. So inquiry based approach for every subject, has been a big learning for me, because we always keep thinking, how can you do inquiry in a mathematics subject? How can you do inquiry in a language? If you're going to do reading, or so that was my initial. I used to like be struggling, sitting on the edge. How am I going to do this? Will I be able to do this? So I had to learn a lot, before I could even share what I've learned with the children. And it was a two-way process. I think I learned from the children and I learned from my colleagues, and then I could share my experiences. So right now I'm at that place where COVID took us all towards technology, with Zoom being introduced, and earlier it was just Skype, and then I started off with Google Classroom. I remember a time when I came back from Ladakh, and my husband said, "You better enroll yourself in some computer course, because your children will be much more advanced than us. So they will laugh at us if we don't know technology." And the first lesson that I went for my computer class, I couldn't control the mouse. It was actually running like a mouse everywhere. And look at me today, I'm sitting on Zoom, but Zoom has become a very natural kind of platform. Anybody can now access Zoom. But now it's getting AI into teaching and using different other platforms to teach and document learning. These are all things that I would say have blended along with the pedagogies that I'm using. So I recently did a workshop, a short mini professional development for the rest of my colleagues, and introduced them to 3 AI platforms, which one is for differentiation, another one is for making quick presentations, another one is for making a script or a video link or an article into a quick video, and using any language. So right now, differentiation is also a pedagogy that I have to use a lot, because we have a lot of children who are not native English speakers, who do not speak English at all. So they come to our classes, and it's a Herculean task to differentiate learning, because they are very basic English speakers, So they go for English as additional language lessons, and we have to tailor lot of experiences, learning experiences to meet their needs. So differentiation, inquiry, and technology-based learning have been things that I've been constantly working with now. So it's been a lot of, plucking, a lot of flowers that I've plucked along the way of my journey
Oh,
that I would.
I I love how you've put that. That sounds lovely. Flowers that you've plucked along your journey. So, what are the new flowers that you think you need to pick up along the way? You've named a few things right now that you've been working on. What is next?
Yeah, so my goal from last year and this year, so we do have our goal setting that we do every year. So, the past couple of years, it's been mathematics and the role it plays and how we can blend inquiry into the classroom, but also get them to not just inquiry, but to also take them from the concrete to the abstract. So currently, I'm doing a course from this person called Christina Tandwal. She is called the recovering traditionalist in mathematics. She calls herself that. So I'm doing that course. So waiting for a lot of learning so that I can strengthen my teaching and learning of mathematics skills. I've just enrolled, and the course has just begun day before yesterday with the Harvard Education online program called the Universal Design for Learning. UDL is what is the buzzword currently. Before joining Stonehill, I did the Understanding by Design, which follows the IB philosophy of deciding what you want finally to, so you know what your output is going to be, and then you plan it backwards. So this universal design for learning is something new. I'd been hearing that, so I wanted to learn more about it. So I've enrolled for that. So it's a 3 week course that I'm currently going to be doing. So I'm hoping that I will gain a lot of insights from the course as well, so that I can implement those.
That's amazing, Padma. You seem to be on a never-ending learning journey, and I don't see too many people like this these days, So that it's so wonderful to hear how much you've learned and how much you still want to continue to learn. I hope you never stop. I just have, one last question for you. I just want to know, how do you manage everything, your personal life, then your job at Stonehill. I've heard that it can be quite hectic, and then your own learning journey as well. How do you handle it all?
I know. I think, saying that, organization skill is one of the crux of, and I'm actually very, very bad at it. My organization skills are pathetic. But what has allowed me this time is that my children are settled. So I don't have kids now at home. They're all married and they're all elsewhere. So that gives me time in the evenings. And my husband he's such a sweetheart that, he knows the kind of person I am, and I kind of can be really a workaholic. So he doesn't actually mind or disturb me when it is, these kind of things. And I think I've become very conscious now about my well-being. So I close my laptop, I close my work at 11 for the past 10 days, and I've been maintaining it. I'm hoping that 21 days I do it, and so that it becomes a habit in me. um, so I think I come back, I kind of manage to have a nap, and I had even stopped walking, so now I've started that and meditation. And then when I finish all this is when I start with my work. Like Saturdays and Sundays, I've decided that I'm going to spend this much of time for my coursework, this much of time for my schoolwork, and it is like you're saying, it is pretty hectic. I mean, work-life balance can go topsy-turvy because there's so much of research you have to do. So I'm hoping that I organization skill is one thing I'm still planning to learn from somewhere. So yeah, I'm gathering tips from here and there, and I keep listening to Mel Robbins' podcast, and some of her podcasts are really, really very interesting. So I think that's been keeping me going.
That's wonderful, Padma. So many takeaways from this conversation, on how to be as a teacher, how to learn, and how to manage your personal life and, the work life balance as well. Padma, I want to wish you all the best as you continue your learning journey, and I look forward to reading more about it on LinkedIn because I know you share a lot of your insights there. And it's so great to catch up once again. And
I know.
yes, Padma, thank you so much.
Uh, Thank you very much for having me, Anupa. It's been really wonderful connecting with you. Thank you.
Thanks, Padma. Bye for now.
Bye.